Your exterminator is not lying to you. That is the part people get wrong about this. He shows up, he sprays, the flies die, and for about 4 days, your kitchen is clean. Then they are back. So you call him again. And the second visit is another bill. And by the third one, you are starting to wonder what exactly you are paying for. And then a plumber opens a trap under your sink and finds the nursery. That is the whole story of this video. The bug he is killing is a plumbing problem in a costume, and the brown bottle that fixes it costs about as much as a coffee. 10 things about hydrogen peroxide and household pests, including 3 places it flat out does not work. Because I am not selling you a miracle. And at the end, the one legal reason your exterminator cannot fix this even if he wants to. Here is the detail that makes this funny in a way that is not really funny. The exterminator and I are usually standing in the same kitchen, looking at the same flies, and only one of us is holding the tool that reaches the problem. In 19 years of this work, I have never once needed a fogger to end a drain fly season. I have needed a bottle brush and a cup of peroxide. Number 1. Drain flies breed in the film inside your pipes, not in your kitchen. Look down any drain in your house that has run water in the last month. Coating the inside walls of that pipe is a soft, gray, gelatinous layer. Hair, soap scum, grease, food particles, and the bacteria and fungus that colonize all of it. The trade calls it biofilm. Think of it like plaque on a tooth, except the tooth is 4 inches of pipe and nobody has ever brushed it. That film is not a byproduct. To a drain fly, that film is the entire world. She lays 30 to 100 eggs directly onto it, down inside the pipe where you will never see them. Those eggs hatch in about a day and a half. The larvae then sit in that slime and eat it for roughly 2 weeks before they crawl up as adults into your kitchen. So when you see one fuzzy little fly on the rim of your sink, you are not seeing an intruder. You are seeing a graduate. There are dozens more behind it, still in school, and they are on a schedule. A cup of 3% hydrogen peroxide, the brown bottle from the first aid aisle, poured straight down that drain, foams as it hits the organic layer. That foam is oxygen coming off as the peroxide breaks down. It clings, it lifts the film, and it kills eggs and larvae sitting in it. Then it turns into water and oxygen and goes away. No caustic, no fumes, nothing that eats an old cast iron line. Number 2, this is the gap that justifies the title. So I want to be careful and fair about it. A one-time fly treatment from a pest control company runs roughly $150 to $300 for that first visit, because the first visit includes a full inspection and runs 45 to 90 minutes. Drain fly specific work tends to land around $170 to $260. A big established infestation can average north of $350. Now, what does that money buy? It buys a treatment of the occupied space, baits, a targeted spray, sometimes a fogger. Every one of those tools kills adult flies in the room. Not one of them reaches 8 inches down a drain pipe and touches a larva embedded in slime. Nobody says that part out loud on the invoice. So the adults die, the room is clear, and you feel like you got your money's worth. Meanwhile, the next batch is already 2/3 of the way through its cycle in the pipe. 4 days later, they emerge, and you make another call. And you will notice the second visit tends to cost less than the first, which feels like a break and is actually the tell. The first visit priced in the inspection. The follow-ups are just the spray again. He is not re-diagnosing anything, because from where he is standing, there is nothing left to diagnose. Nobody is scamming you. The economics simply do not reward the fix. There is no money in prevention. There is money in a repeat visit that genuinely works exactly as advertised on exactly the wrong target. Number 3, before you treat anything, find out which drain is actually the problem. This is a step almost everybody skips, and skipping it is why people treat the kitchen sink for 3 weeks while the flies keep pouring out of a floor drain in the laundry room. Take a clear plastic cup. Set it upside down over a suspect drain overnight. Do not seal it. Do not tape it airtight. Just rest it there loosely so anything emerging gets trapped underneath. A strip of clear packing tape, sticky side down over half the opening, does the same job. In the morning, walk the house. The drain with flies stuck to the tape or bumping around inside the cup is your nursery. Check every drain in the room, not just the obvious one, because more than one can be active at the same time. 10 minutes of setup, no money, and it tells you exactly where to aim, which is worth more than any product you could buy. One more thing about the cup test. Give it 2 nights, not 1. Adults do not emerge on a tidy schedule, and a single quiet night convinces people a drain is innocent when it is simply between batches. 2 nights, every suspect drain in the room, and then you know. Number 4, the hot spots are almost never where you are looking. The kitchen sink gets blamed for everything, and the kitchen sink is usually innocent, because you run water down it every single day, and moving water does not let film sit. Here is where I actually find them. The overflow hole. That little slot near the top of your bathroom sink, or the round cover in your tub. Behind that opening is a hollow channel that fills with the same slime as the main drain, except water almost never runs through it. It is a private, dark, wet, undisturbed apartment complex, and it is the single most missed breeding site in the house. Next, the splash baffle on your garbage disposal. That black rubber flap. Lift it and look at the underside. That is where the grease lives. Then the laundry standpipe, that vertical pipe your washer hose dumps into, which only sees water twice a week. And the basement floor drain, which sees water basically never, and whose trap is often bone dry. For the overflow, a small bottle brush work back and forth breaks the film loose. Then pour peroxide directly into that opening, not the main drain. Different hole, different pipe. Treating one does nothing for the other. If that just saved you a service call, my book covers the rest of the house the same way. 100 old house. Fixes that save you thousands. Inside there is a seasonal maintenance calendar and a set of at-home checklists that catch the small stuff while it is still small. Link is in the description, or scan the code on the screen. Now, step back from the drains for a minute, because the same bottle does real work in 3 other places, and it fails badly in a 4th. Number 5, fungus, gnats in your houseplants. Different bug, same principle. Those tiny black flies drifting off your pothos are not living in the leaves. Their larvae are in the top 2 or 3 inches of wet potting soil, eating decaying organic matter, and when that runs out, chewing on root hairs. Mix 1 part 3% peroxide to 4 parts water. That lands you at roughly 0.6%, which Cornell Cooperative Extension recommends for exactly this. Let the top couple inches of soil dry out first, then drench until it runs from the drainage holes. It will fizz. That fizz is oxygen releasing as the peroxide kills larvae on contact, and it is harmless to roots at that dilution. Now the part the internet leaves out, and this matters. It kills larvae. It does not reliably kill eggs. Eggs keep hatching every 4 to 6 days. So one treatment gets you a week of quiet and then a rebound. And then you go online and say peroxide does not work. Repeat the drench at every watering for 2 to 3 weeks until the waves stop. Sticky traps in the pot. Catch the adults while you are waiting. Traps alone accomplish nothing because the adults you catch already laid. Number 6, ant trails, where I have to correct the internet on peroxide's behalf. You will find 100 articles telling you to spray peroxide on ant trails. Peroxide will kill an ant you hit directly. It is not the right tool for the trail itself, and I would rather tell you that than sell you the bottle twice. An ant trail is a chemical line. A scout finds your crumb, walks home, and lays a pheromone, which is just a scent chemical other ants follow. That trail is fat-based, oily. Indoors, out of the rain and the sun, it can stay readable for months, which is why the column reforms in the same spot on the same counter edge every morning. To erase an oily line, you need a surfactant, which is what soap is, something that breaks the fat and lifts it off the surface. Hot water and a heavy squirt of grease-cutting dish soap, scrubbed along the path, and about a foot to either side of it. That is the tool. Peroxide has a role here, but it is the second act. Once the trail is scrubbed off, wipe the counter down with peroxide to disinfect what the ants tracked across it. Cleaning up after, not navigation and sabotage. And I will say this plainly because it comes back in a minute. Do not reach for vinegar and peroxide together on this job. Vinegar alone is fine. Peroxide alone is fine. Together is a different story. Number 7, cleaning up what pests leave behind. Roaches and mice do not just walk across your counters. They leave residue. Peroxide is a legitimate disinfectant for that. Spray it on the counter, the inside of the trash bin, the shelf under the sink where you found the droppings from a roach. Give it a minute of contact time. Wipe it down. It is oxidizing. It leaves no film, and it will not corrode a laminate counter or an old porcelain sink the way straight bleach can. Rodent droppings are a different category, and I want to be careful here because this one is genuinely a health issue and not a nuisance issue. The official protocol from public health guidance is specific. Ventilate the space first, open doors and windows for about 30 minutes and leave the room while it airs out. Wear gloves, then wet the droppings and nesting material thoroughly with a disinfectant and let it soak for at least 5 minutes before you touch anything. Wipe it up with paper towels, bag it, and wash your hands. The rule that matters most is the one people break. Never sweep and never vacuum dry rodent droppings. Dry sweeping puts particles into the air you are standing in, and that is the exposure route you are trying to avoid entirely. One honest correction to what you will read online. For rodent cleanup, the guidance names a diluted bleach solution or an EPA-registered disinfectant, and peroxide is not on that list. Use what the protocol names. Peroxide is your counter and bin product. It is not your droppings product. Number 8, bed bugs, where I'm going to tell you no. Yes, 3% peroxide sprayed directly onto a bed bug will kill it. That is technically true, and it is also useless. And here is why. Peroxide breaks down fast. Within minutes, it is water and oxygen, which means it leaves no residual, which means it only kills what you physically hit at the moment you hit it. Bedbugs live in seams, box spring corners, cracked headboard joints, and behind outlet plates. You will never hit even a fair share of them. You will treat the ones you can see, and the population will not notice. Second problem. Peroxide is a mild bleach. That is what it is chemically. Spray it across a mattress, colored sheets, or a carpet, and you are going to lift the color out in patches. You will ruin bedding and still have bed bugs. Bed bugs are the one pest on this whole list where I will tell you to spend the money. It is not a DIY fix. Heat treatment and professional chemical work exist because this insect genuinely defeats household remedies. If you have bed bugs, my honest advice is call somebody, and I do not say that often on this channel. Number 9, the safety rules, and I do not treat these as optional. Household strength only, meaning 3%, the brown bottle from the drugstore. There is 35% food-grade peroxide sold online, and it will chemically burn skin on contact. There's no reason to have it in a house. Never mix peroxide with vinegar. The two together form peracetic acid, which is a real industrial chemical used in food plants and water treatment under ventilation and protective gear. It is corrosive, it burns skin, and it puts off a gas that goes after your eyes and your airway. In a closed bathroom, that is not a stronger cleaner. That is an irritant you are breathing. Never mix peroxide with bleach either. That combination produces oxygen so fast and so violently that in a sealed container it becomes a pressure problem. And bleach with any acid releases chlorine gas. The safe method is sequential. Use one, wipe or rinse the surface, then use the other if you want. Never in the same bottle, never stored together. Last one. It is a bleach, so it whitens. Colored carpet, a colored bath mat, a colored towel draped near the tub. All fair game for a spot you cannot undo. Pour it down the drain, not around it. Number 10. The routine that keeps all of this from starting. Once a month, a cup of 3% peroxide down every drain in the house. Kitchen, both bathrooms, the tub, the laundry stand pipe, the basement floor, drain, and into the overflow openings. Do it at night when nobody is running water, so it sits in the pipe instead of getting rinsed straight through. A bottle runs you a couple of dollars at a big box store, a few more at a drugstore, and one bottle covers a whole house with plenty left over. Call it under $1 a month to eliminate both the food source and the breeding site at the same time. 2 habits make it stick. Keep the bottle under the kitchen sink instead of in the medicine cabinet, because the job is a plumbing job, and you will actually remember it there. And any drain that has been sitting unused, a guest bath, a basement floor drain, run water down it for 30 seconds first. A dry trap lets sewer gas and flies come up from the other direction, and no amount of peroxide fixes an empty trap. Water in a trap is the seal. That is the entire mechanism. Compare that against the alternative. $150 to $300 for a first pest visit, and quarterly follow-ups running $100 to $300 if the flies keep coming back, which they will, because nobody treated the pipe. And no, I am not making that up. That is the actual arithmetic of a problem most people manage as an emergency instead of a habit. So here is the piece I promised you at the top. And it is the one that changed how I think about that repeat bill. There are no pesticides registered by the EPA specifically for drain fly control inside drain pipes. Read that back. Your exterminator can treat the room. He can treat the air, the surfaces, the perimeter. He cannot legally apply a registered pesticide down inside your drain line to kill the larvae, because no such registered product exists for that use. The one place the colony actually lives is the one place his license does not reach. That is not a cover-up. There is no secret meeting where they agree to keep this from you. It is a regulatory gap that quietly makes the whole business model work. He is contracted to treat pests. The pest is a plumbing condition, and the tool that fixes it is a $2 bottle and a bottle brush that nobody can bill 4 figures for, which means the reason you have been paying twice is that you hired the right trade for the wrong problem. I had a customer a few years back, retired school teacher, 80-year-old house, who had spent close to $900 over one summer on fly visits. We found the nursery in 20 minutes. It was a tub overflow in a guest bathroom nobody had used since Christmas. She stood in that doorway and laughed for a solid minute. Then she went and bought a bottle brush. And I have not been back for flies since. That is usually how this ends. Not with a big repair. With somebody finding out the thing they were afraid of was a hollow channel behind a chrome cover. One last thing. The book, 100 Old House Fixes That Save You, Thousands, is written to help you tell a cheap patch from a real fix, and to hand you the questions that keep a contractor honest before the work starts. Link is in the description, or scan the code on the screen, and subscribe to Roger the Pipe Guy, because that is the whole job here. More old house fixes that keep the money in your pocket instead of somebody else's truck.